It probably wasn't designed well to begin with. If you look at it in hindsight, it was definitely going to fail at some point, right? So
Yeah.
one of the problems is the cost, obviously, right? And we're saying that there isn't supply that meets the actual demand that's out there. One of the factors is cost, but I think another big factor out there is the size of the units that are out there, especially in inventory, but also still coming down the pipe. The trend is, as small as possible for the investors. And I mean, alluded to earlier that the system is broken. We definitely know the system is completely not working properly. It probably wasn't designed well to begin with. If you look at it in hindsight, it was a recipe for disaster, and definitely it was definitely going to fail at some point, right? And so I think I said last week or the week before is like we thought we had this great system and that we were protected from exactly this, but the system incentivized a whole bunch of shenanigans out there so that we could start building things, right? Because otherwise, if you can't start building, the whole thing just it stops right there. And
Yeah.
so who the hell, especially as these buildings start going 40 stories, 50 stories, 90 stories, like who the hell can wait that long, right? Like you get married, you're not waiting 7 years to for your condo to be built. So there we force this like intermediary step. And so I'm getting to something, I promise you. You mentioned earlier also that some of the deals, I guess, you have in the pipeline you're starting to look at is rentals. And I've been saying, for a few weeks now, some of the incentives are kind of starting to work right now. And I wonder when bigger guys like you are going to start turning the ship and starting to go, you know what, like this, we can't wait around here forever with these things. Maybe we need to figure out how to make it work as a rental, right? So you said that before. Are things that didn't work before as rentals, like you have big sites, are they starting to pencil as rentals now?
I wish I could say they do, but actually, rentals really struggle to pencil as well. And by the way, the government's done things on the rental side. They've removed the self-assessment of HST at the completion of the project, so that saved the project a lot of money. But while that happened, they raised development charges and interest charges to carry those, to construction interest, land interest, everything else has gone up. And so what they gained on one hand, they just lost on the other hand. And so it's still making rentals very hard to pencil. Doesn't mean it's impossible. There's a number of we have one site, for example, that was fully intended to be a condo. It's looking more and more likely that that will turn into a rental project. But the land price was really affordable. A whole bunch of things kind of came to be that allowed that one to work. We also have other projects that we looked at, which were intended to be condos, and looking at them as rentals, they just don't pencil as rentals. Either the land price was too high or not the right location, or whatever the case may be, too expensive to build. And so I wish it was simple enough to say, just switch from condos to rentals and we'll just go back to a building boom and build a ton of rentals. That is not what's happening at all. And in fact, I'm hearing that a lot of the pension funds and institutional capital that has been pouring into rentals is pulling back. And that becomes another problem because in order to make rentals work, you generally need a very low cost of capital. And so you need that institutional equity to be coming into those deals who have a very long time horizon and are looking, at these deals over a 10, 20, 30-year period, not over a 4 or 5 year period. Unfortunately, builders like us and yourself, we don't have the luxury to park money into a deal for 10 or 20 or 30 years. It's just not the way the system works. So I think, I'd love to see more rentals be built, and I think we will see more rentals be built, but I still think it's a struggle. It's still a challenge. Rentals need more relief as well. So I think what we need to be focused on is if we believe collectively as a country that we need more housing, then we should be incentivizing the building of housing. And we should be looking up and downstream on every phase of a project in order to ensure roadblocks are removed. Because a housing unit is only a housing unit when it's completed, finished, and somebody can move in. And so you can free up all the land you want and make land more affordable. You can make zoning, loosen zoning restrictions and make zoning easier. But if you can't sell the units or you can't finance them as a rental, or you can't
can't
get a
build them.
construction loan, then you're not building them anyway. So if you just get step 1 and step 2 right, but then you kind of mess it up on step 3 and 4, you're not going to, you may as well have messed it up on step 1. So we have to really look holistically at the entire life cycle of a project and make sure we've removed all barriers from beginning to end to enable housing to be built. And if we believe that we are a country that needs more housing, we should be incentivizing, whether financially or other ways, to ensure shovels are being put in the ground every year, more and more every year.
Like, comment, and subscribe if you got anything from one of these clips. And if you want to see some more, press something on the screen here. Boom.
That was good.
That was good. I like that. That was good.